Good afternoon. Once again, I'm Jason Medlock, and I'm so excited that you guys are joining us again today. We have a very, very, very special guest for you guys this evening. And I just want to say that we're excited. We're excited about 2023. We're excited about a lot of the things that we have coming up for the show. A lot of interesting guests coming on throughout the year, which will be so exciting. But today, I would like to introduce Sandeep Nath. He's the founder of Realism, a former IIT-IIM alumnus. He founded and ran a successful strategy company before heading to the Himalayas in search of the purpose of life and the drive of our energetic consciousness. As a coach, he has taken the sacred wisdom of allowing inner power to more than 46 cities over 4 continents. As an international Reiki master, business chi guide, mindful coach, and author of 2 books, Sandeep is an expert on stress management and applying ancient oriental wisdom to modern business challenges. He is on the executive boards of the Global Youth Mental Awareness Incorporated, GYMHA, Australia, and the Professional Speakers Association of India. I'm going to bring on our guest, Sandeep. I am so excited to have him on our show. A very, very, very intelligent, very, very in-depth individual. And I'm excited. Let's just get this show on the road. Hey there, Sandeep. How are you today?
I'm more excited than you are, Jason. It's such a privilege to be on your show and to be talking to your guests. Hello, everybody.
All right, I'm excited, and it was strange. I was able to get some information on you, and I started to read about a lot of things that you've done. Just being a mindfulness coach and author, understanding how to deal with stress, and I think that a lot of people here today, are dealing with stress, or dealing with mental illness, and it's professionals like you that bring that level of awareness um, to people, and that's why I was very excited when you agreed to come onto the show.
Thank you. I'm happy to help anybody help themselves. You see,
Yes,
the key does not lie in your handing over the keys to somebody else to fix things for you. The key lies in your holding the key yourself and
e-
knowing where the ignition is.
exactly. I have some questions, and we're gonna get into it. With the audience. One of the main things I'd like to ask you is, how can people be more happy, Sandeep?
So there is this wise saying that happiness comes from the inside.
Yes.
And, I don't know whether this is an appropriate joke, but that's what the meditator discovered after he released the fart.
Right. I think meditation plays a huge role in setting the balance of how your day is going to start. People that find themselves sort of stuck in the middle, and just I guess they sort of feel icky every day. And meditation is one thing that can really, really smooth out, um, your attitude, smooth out your perception of life. I'm a transcendental meditator. I meditate 20 minutes a day, twice a day. And if I'm feeling a certain kind of way, maybe I'm not feeling as good. Maybe I'm feeling sort of, you know, just, just icky. When I meditate in the morning, and my levels of anxiety drop as I go deeper into my meditation. And I think that
Yeah,
people can find a lot of helpfulness and satisfaction, meditating to start off trying to be more happy in their life.
absolutely, Jason. And here's where I'm going to break a notion for everybody listening, watching.
Mhm.
You don't have to meditate 20 minutes a day. You don't have to meditate 10 minutes a day. You don't have to sit on a cushion and meditate.
Wow.
You need to understand what meditation does for you. And it does everything you said, Jason, and
Right.
it can do it differently. Would you like to know
Wow.
how?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get into it.
So, when we develop technologies, even health technologies these days, we are very concerned with our bodies. We're very familiar with our bodies, and we do a lot of things to understand which muscles and which neurons and which corpuscles move in which way,
Right.
get infected in which way, how do we develop immunity, and we measure all sorts of parameters, and we develop a lot of techniques. Now, we have developed techniques for people who go to the gym, which is about
Hmm.
developing the body, right? Keeping ourselves healthy and stuff like that. And so we have this stuff about CrossFit training. We have these pattern interrupts and a whole lot of techniques of that sort. But if you understand that you are not just body, your body, mind, and spirit, and the whole battle against stress is about bringing these three in alignment. So when we talk about stress later in the show, we'll talk about the alignment part. But what I want to say is that if a pattern interrupt applies to building better muscles because the muscles don't get trained in a certain way, I'm not getting into those bodily theories, but the same thing applies for the mind and the same thing applies for the spirit. So, what I recommend is to understand that meditation is about focusing on something for some time. Usually, I have a three-word definition for meditation. It is being in awareness.
you know, again,
To
we
complete the thought, sorry, just to complete the thought. Being in awareness of what? Usually, we are always with our breath. So, if
Mhm.
we can be in awareness of our breath every hour, you set your alarm in your cell phone and it pings every hour, and that's where you take a 30-second break and be in awareness of your breath. You do that 10 times a day, every hour, and you will find that you are in that state of happiness all through the day. You are recharging yourself, you're recalming yourself, you're re-oxygenating yourself, and you're breaking the pattern of that overthinking mind because it stops for 30 seconds and goes inside.
Mm.
Over to you.
The intelligence of the breath, into the torso, out of the mouth. And it's such a refining feeling. I totally agree with you, Sandeep. The breath, tracking that breath coming in and going out takes you to a level of transcendence, a level of peace. And just like you said, when you can find that level of peace, then
Then
you
you
can
have
find
happiness.
happiness.
So that's what is meant by the adage that happiness comes from within. Because
Yes.
it is only when we stop the distractions outside and go in with our breath, let our mind follow the breath and play a game with it. It's like a video game. It's like you go into those passages, except those passages are capillaries. Now I challenge each one of you to identify the first capillary your air goes into. It's not easy.
It's not. But I
you
have
you
one
might
for you.
you might just feel the air in your nostrils, in the hair. Maybe if you're very sensitive, you feel it up to here. But when it goes into the lungs, you lose it,
Mm,
man. You just lose it.
just move it. So,
That's what the meditators did. And that is how we discovered so much about how energy moves, how this oxygen converts itself into energy and fuels us. And um, that's why we know all this about energy from ancient times.
we're gonna move it to, we're still on the same topic, but what is stress? And how does it really affect us?
Great question. And very important for us to know. I believe in simplicity.
Yeah.
And just like meditation has a three-word definition, being in awareness, stress is very simple to understand when you look at it from the point of view of what we are and what are the demands imposed upon us.
Hmm.
So when we perceive ourselves as something small and The demands could be financial, could be physical, could be mental, could
Right.
be in any dimension. When they're looming the shadow over us, that's when we are stressed.
Right.
And so the question is, why are you a little small person there? There are two solutions. One
Yes.
is you network, so that that's how when 10,000 years ago the elephant stood in front of the cave. It was a very stressful situation,
Yeah.
but we formed villages, we formed community, we built
Right.
fences, and the elephants stopped coming, and we started working with each other. And that network, that support group, that feeling of belongingness is what countered these stressful situations from arising, or built the capacity to handle it.
Hmm.
The other option is you build yourself from inside. Now, I often use this. Let me show this to you. I have a prop.
Okay.
This is you,
Okay.
and this is what's casting the shadow over you. And when you learn to develop your inner power, this shadow you would cast on the other side because you have power. So
Wow.
that's what inner power coaching is about. How do you develop that? And that's where I come back to alignment of the body, mind, and spirit within you, because
Wow.
that's what's going to give you the light. And you shine that light on other people, you shine away stress.
And I was thinking, I work at as a hypnotist using QHHT. And also I'm a certified hypnosis practitioner. But when we deal with stress and we look at from that perspective on how it affects us, it's typically hard on the body. It typically leads to a oil spill of issues in your life. So if you're stressed, typically you got a bad relationship, you're not doing well or performing on the job, you're overeating, um, and you're probably not doing well financially. So there are a lot of side effects of stress that people go through, and it's just not that top issue of stress. There's an all spill of
Yeah,
issues I've found when I'm dealing with people that are stressed out.
you're absolutely
So
right. And that again has to do, Jason, with the fact that we've got this pyramid inverted. The body is the base of the pyramid, lots of attention here. The mind is lesser attention. We know about mood swings, but we don't know what to do about them. We know about our emotions, but we really don't know what to do about how to bring them under control. Like you have a fix for the body. You got a transplant. You've got things to do. In the mind, you don't that, right? And then at the third level, you have spirit, which is pure energy. Spirits up, spirits down. It's basically energy up, energy down. And energy fuels everything. So we know
everything.
very little about that. This pyramid has to be inverted. Because the reason why everything is manifesting in the body is because it's come through the funnel. The energy got polluted. We didn't notice. The mind got polluted. We still didn't notice. When the
Right.
body got polluted, that's when we said, man, I've got hernia, I've got this, I've got that, I can't sleep, and whatever else.
Mm.
The pyramid is this way. And our focus has to move more on energy and mind, and the body will be fine because that's what's percolating down to the body.
I totally agree. You know, um, when you think about it, I have another question for you. How do we really find our purpose and find our passion? Once we've moved ourselves from a stressful level, how do we find our purpose and passion?
Right. So let's go back to the inverted pyramid.
Okay.
When you clear the energies, and that's what you can do with practices which involve energy directly, like Qigong or so many others that our listeners and viewers would be practicing or would be familiar with. The point is, you've got to be involved with it. You've got to be doing it. But when you clean up your energy, when you know how to handle your aura, and how to fix the connection you have with universal energy around, that's when you get divine inspiration. A
Hmm.
lot of people call it surrender. A lot of people call it letting go. There are songs around it, let it be or whatever. And And the thing is that it's when you practice that you lay the base for working on purpose, for working with clarity. Otherwise, you're muddied up and you're searching for clarity in the mud. It's difficult. You might find it, but it's just more difficult to look for a golden ring in muddy water. But it's much easier when you clear the water first. And so, if your effort goes into clearing the water, the ring will manifest. Now, that sounds like a fairy tale, but that's what happens. And that's what manifestation is about. So, I would say that you find your purpose and stuff like that. I have a three-part process to doing that,
Hmm.
but do it in a space which is not muddied up, which is where you have let go, which is where you have surrendered, maybe to a coach, maybe to a higher power. Uh, we don't give it a label, but because we are very familiar with ourselves at bodily levels, it's good to go with a coach who can look you in the eye and tell you stuff, and you just do it. And that helps bring that clarity in your mind, in the water, metaphorically. And then you start working on the three-step process where you actually get a purpose that drives you. And the purpose could change from time to time, but it would drive you at the point where you are to take you to point B, which which could be another turning point of purpose. So it's an evolving thing, but it's a guiding thing.
Right.
It's not a goal. It's not a mission that has to be achieved. It's something that guides you. Like for instance, I'm the founder of Renewalism, which is a guiding idea. It's a movement that I'm hoping would see a lot of traction in this decade, but it's not something that has a number attached to it. It's not something that has a milestone attached. Those would be very very mission oriented things, uh, which you break down to goals and all that. But the purpose is what defines you, what guides you. What guides you is, are you renewing, and what does it take to renew and stuff like that.
But
So
okay, no, so go ahead.
yeah.
Go ahead. No, keep teaching. I love it. I love it. Keep teaching.
No, I was just giving the example in my context, and I'd love to hear from you.
Well, we spoke. We we've spoken about qigong earlier, and in your bio, and I've heard you mention it a few more times. I just cannot wait to ask that question. I want to let's. What is qigong? How'd you get started in it, and how does it play a role in our life?
Great. You really know how to make your guests happy. Yeah, that's for sure. Guys, I hope you're watching, listening, feeling happy too, because this is a
Absolutely.
real nugget coming up. I wish more people in the world knew about this, and they will certainly, as as we get to understand what's in it for us.
Yes.
That's when we really get to know things. So, what's in it for us with qigong? What is
Hmm.
qigong? Qigong is actually two words from Mandarin. Qi is the word for life force energy. So that's
Yes.
energy that drives everything. That's where 5,000 years ago we knew about the pyramid being a funnel. And we were focused on the energies, we were focused on making that connection between the heaven and the earth. And we were a pipe. And as the pipe was clean, you had everything you wanted. And so we lived in abundance, we lived in happiness. And notwithstanding the wars and the strife and stuff like that in ancient China and India and everywhere, but that's because not everybody was a practitioner, right? But when
That's
you
right.
when you are, then you have that pipe between the universe and that pipe clean. And when you keep it clean, what it means is that your energy channels are clean. So that's where acupressure, acupuncture, and all those things come from, about what happens within those channels at a micro level. But at a macro level, it's about allowing the life force energy to flow. And the second part of the word gung means to work. So qi gung is energy work. Simply translated in
Mm.
English, it is working with energy. And that means you are working with the top of the pyramid, the top of the funnel, rather, the inverted pyramid, and you're working with what will clean your mind and what will clean your body. And so if you Google up the word Qigong, Qigong, and maybe you don't even have to add the second word benefits, but if you just look up Qigong benefits, you will find that it is good for, it's a panacea. And why is it a panacea? Because it's funneling divine energy into you on a day-to-day basis and getting you to clear your mind and your body. So it clears out any kind of physiological ailment, physical ailment. It clears out mental and emotional disturbances, and it just
Yes.
puts you in a state where you feel connected to everything and everybody because you all connected through the Ethernet, the energy,
So
and that's
Sandeep,
what. Hmm,
I'm sorry. So Sandeep. Okay, so you're a world Reiki master, world renowned Reiki master, and you also practice Qigong. So we understand that Reiki energy is a part of a number of energies that are being to the earth. These energies are here, and we just we use it as a conduit. We're conduits of this energy. So what's the difference? And you are proficient in both modalities. So let's talk about what the difference is between qigong uh and being a Reiki master.
and Reiki. So it's interesting that you brought that up because the Reiki again is two words: Rei meaning universal
Hmm.
and Ki meaning Chi. So they
Life.
said Chi in Chinese and Ki in Japanese. So it's the same life force energy. Okay, and Reiki is universal life force energy. It's not about working with it. That would be Reiki Gang or whatever the word for Gang is in Japanese. This is where I draw the line. I'm ignorant on that. But Reiki is the use of universal life force,
Yes.
and, and that is channeled. So it is all around us. Everything is energy. This is proven scientifically. E is equal to mc square. All matter is energy. It's all interchangeable, convertible. Anything. This cell
Mm.
phone is energy. This computer is energy. This light is energy. You know, whether it is matter or it is light, it's all interchangeable. Now,
Mm.
that we know even from science. What we figured, or we didn't figure, what Dr. Usui figured, and Dr. Hayashi with him, is a way of making this universal energy transferable. So,
Mm.
as we know from the industrial age, whatever is duplicatable, whatever you can make a process of, you can mass produce, right?
Yes.
That's what
Yes.
happened with Reiki. And that's why Reiki is a lot more prolific than Qigong, because anybody can learn that.
Yes.
And I'm one of the few masters who teach that online. And you can become a level one or even a level two Reiki proficient
Mm.
through an online program. But to just close that part of the question, Qigong is something that you practice for yourself. You work with energy and you put yourself in alignment. Reiki is something where you channel energy, and it could be for your own healing or for others. So that's what makes it really cool. I mean, there are Qigong practices which you can use to work with energy for others, but Reiki more directly channels it to others, to pets, to plants, to uh, people far away through distant Reiki and stuff like that. So that's what makes it very interesting. So Reiki is a great modality to heal others.
And so eloquently said, how all of these ancient energy practices work. And I'm so elated that you broke that down for us, and it helps people understand how to take care of themselves, because we are made of energy, and energy heals us. I can remember working with a client while using QHHT, quantum healing hypnosis technique, taught by Dolores Cannon. And when we are um, in with the patient, when they're in the theta brainwave state, and then we move them to the somnambulistic state, And then we bring forth the higher self to bring healing to the actual client. The level of energy that's in the room is absolutely incredible. And we'll ask the higher self while the client is in trance, how are you healing the back area? And then the person speaks back to you in a different voice. The subconscious mind speaks back. We're using energy to heal. So even when you have a person in trance and you're able to pull their higher selves out and have a conversation with it, that's all they speak of is using energy to heal. And it's amazing that we've been able to download this information on how to use Reiki, how to use Qigong, and I'm just so glad that I've got a expert like you to break that down for us. But one thing I want to ask you, and we're gonna talk about a lot of different things. Is technology taking us backwards or forward? I know we just talked about energy, but let's just get broad on this. Technology. It's a big thing out there, Sandeep. In your opinion, is it taking us forward or backwards?
Well, technology is a tool. And as long as we remember that, it
Yes.
will take us forward.
Yes.
The moment we forget that and we become a slave to technology, that's when we've lost it. So, your show is so appropriately titled The Expansion of Consciousness,
Yes.
because
Thank you.
consciousness has to expand to embrace technology the right way. Technology is
Yes.
no different from this pen. This pen is a product of technology.
Mm.
Now, this pen, I know what to do with it. I can be creative about what to do with it. I don't just write with it, I shine the light. But if this pen becomes the cause of my misery, which it could if I'm so attached to it that the moment it breaks, uh, my day is gone. That's when, metaphorically again, this pen, this instrument of technology,
Hmm.
is I've become a slave to it.
Yes.
So that's what we've got to be aware of, and that's what we've got to um, prepare the next generation for. That's what renewal is all about. It's
Right.
about uh, connecting with ourselves and with a higher consciousness, which helps us design products that we don't become slaves to.
Mm.
If you saw the movie the Social Dilemma, it came out a couple of years ago on Netflix. It's a very interesting documentary where a lot of people who were part of the founding teams at Facebook and Twitter and Uber and various places like that have been interviewed candidly, and they say that the like button, for instance, the guy who invented that was on the show in the movie, and he said that we made it so that it spreads positivity, more people like. But what we found between 2013 and 2016, over those 3 years, is that and he showed the graph for the suicide rates of teenage girls, because those girls had just started acquiring their smartphones in 2013, and they didn't get enough likes and they got into depressive states, and the suicide rates went up like that. And that was a shocker. And these are the kind of things that I mean when I say we become slaves to it. So, technology is fine as long as we know how to use it, where its places, how much of internet to use, what to use it for, and we don't get depressed about not having human interaction. For instance, for the last 2.5 years, with the lockdowns and stuff like that, it was a time when we started talking about mental health, and uh, the whole issue came out of the closet, because a lot of people were affected, and there was a feeling that, all right, you're affected too, all right, so it's not that bad. And the reason we were affected is because we had not developed the mechanisms to be isolated. Now we were only us and technology, right, all those months of lockdown, and we lost the balance somewhere. When we lose balance, we get stressed because you get out of alignment. Medicine and science is a big subject, and it's a very, very controversial subject because there is a lot of money involved. And if I am to speak for myself, I would say that the commercial interests far, far um overshadow the good that is potentially available in medicine and science. We are being slapped with a lot of chemicals that our body does not need, and a lot of diagnoses which the body can read better on its own. But we have not allowed our bodies to talk to us anymore. We don't trust ourselves inside. We trust a doctor outside. We look at the degree over there, or we don't even look at the degree. We just look at the DR initials, and we trust that. All right, if that's the person, that's the brand name, that's the hospital, that's the insurance company, I'm sorted. But you could be a lot better sorted if you resorted to what we are programmed to do. And what you're programmed to do is repair ourselves. So the body is very, very capable of healing itself. And all we have to know is that what are the indicators? Just as you get a medical checkup done and you know what your leukocytes and ESR and all those parameters, the lipid profiles and the KFTs and everything, you get numbers for all those things, right? That's a report that tells you your state of health from the outside, but it's only like a balance sheet. It's only a snapshot on that one particular day at the end of the year, on that one particular day when the blood sample was taken. What's happening in the body is a constant renewal. The cells are constantly dying and constantly regenerating, and you could be completely different the next day. And science labels those as miracle cures and miracle recoveries, but they're not. They are just an intent which drives the physicality. Remember the inverted triangle again, the inverted pyramid, the funnel. When we have the energies, those intents at the spirit level coming into our minds, our bodies are capable of changing their physiologies.
That is so true. And our minds are capable of doing almost anything we want. We have to understand how to tap into that potential.
So that's my take on this. That while it's good to have science and medicine and all the research that's going on, if the commercial interests are taken away, it would shape out very differently. It would shape out like the way it went for the first few thousand years, where Ayurveda was developed in India and traditional Chinese medicine was developed in that part of the Orient, and Tibetan medicine was developed based on natural elements, stuff that we find in the earth, which connect us to that earth,
Yes.
which connect us with the plants, which connect us with nature. And that's what regenerates us. A chemical will never regenerate you, a factory manufactured chemical. It'll only rebalance something and disbalance something else. So it's a constant uh, kind of treadmill that you're on. You just got to keep running back to the doctor all the time.
Sandeep, how do people improve themselves? Improve their habits. What can they do to begin this transformation?
Yes, habits is a very key word. In fact, the entire premise of renewal and renewalism movement lies on that one word, habits, because that's the only thing we can do. It is the first thing that changes our reality is what we do with the thoughts that we have. We
Right.
have lots of thoughts, right? Scientists have measured 60,000 thoughts a day. You don't act on 60,000 things. You act on six things. Now, those six things that you act on, that's
Yes.
where mindfulness comes in. Mindfulness is about remembering that you've got this thought, but you don't have to act on it. You remember what you have to act on, and then you act on that. And so, let's say the action is saying something. Now, I may have three things to say to answer this question of yours, but my tongue will move with mindfulness to see that the words that come out are appropriate in the context of answering the question. So that the mindfulness is about increasing the gap between the thought and the expression, or the thought and the action. And the first thing that actions do for us is create results. So the first thing that happens to a thought is it becomes a habit, it manifests in an action, and that manifests in the result.
We have
Habits are at the center, therefore, at the
mhm,
center of results and thoughts. Habits are
mm.
right there in the center and very, very controllable through our actions. So that's what we want to do. We want to be mindful of what is it that we are bringing into action, what is it that we are saying, what is it that we are doing, and what is it that we feel within, and is all of that aligned? Over to you.
And we know that, our the governments play a big part in what we know and what we understand. And um we as individual humans, we play a role in educating ourselves in understanding what triggers, areas of consciousness, and how we can better improve ourselves. But I'm curious, Sandip, what must educators incorporate in planning?
Two things that I often say to educators is bring in the aspect of mindfulness,
Mm,
because this is one life skill that can change everything at a young age. If you want the workforce to be stress free as they start working, they have to be aware of what brings stress to them. And if they just keep working like their bosses and their bosses, they would not realize that till they reach the midlife, at which point they feel that they're burning out.
right.
So those 15 years from the age 20 to 35 is where if we have the training between 15 and 20, ages of 15 and 20, those 5 years of mindfulness training are going to get the 35-year-olds at peak productivity without burnout, because they know how to handle themselves, what to do about it.
What I want to do is I want to let the audience know we're going to take a quick break, and that you've been listening to Sandeep Nath, and you can find him at Sandeep, Sandeep, Nath, NATH.com/EOC. Guys, he's made EOC expansion of consciousness. So go to his website and look at the wonderful things that Sandeep is putting out there and providing for people. And I guess we're gonna move real quickly, Sandy, because we've been on for a while. But the last thing, what are your keys to success?
So that's something that you take straight out of another book, Arrive at Success. And it's got a formula actually. Arrive at Success is a book about the convergence of commerce and consciousness,
Hmm.
and that is the first book I wrote, and it's kind of a personal diary. Not so much a diary as my interactions and my learnings and my experiences working with people, and that's what brought me to understand that success is a journey, but the journey has to begin from the right point. So let's say you want to take a journey from Houston to Las Vegas, and you are not at the airport. Now that's going to be a problem. Then you got to be sure that you are in the car. Then you got to be sure that you know how to drive the car, and all those things. So arriving at the right place means you arrive at the airport, or
Hmm.
you arrive in the right car with the right mindset to drive all those miles and all that sort of stuff. And then you're bound for success. It's got to happen. There are three elements that you have to align with to make it happen on this journey. And those are what are called NENW. N for nature, inner and outer. And that's where again Qigong helps you, outer and inner get balanced. E for empowerment. And empowerment is community. And that's what we discovered 10,000 years ago, right? You want to be stress free, you share it. So it's about developing the inner power, developing the community. And W is for wealth, which is a
Mm.
mindset, which is not about money, which is about abundance. which is about knowing that you are connected, having that deep belief of connection,
Mm,
and it's going to take you there. So NEW is what your oneness with these three parameters is what takes you to success.
mm. Well, I want to invite the audience to subscribe to the Expansion of Consciousness and click like. But more importantly, go and visit Sandeep. Go and visit him and analyze some of the wonderful things he has to offer on his website. Again, it's sandeepnath.com/EOC, which stands for Expansion of Consciousness. And I gotta tell you, I'm so happy you came on the show today, Sandeep, and would love to have you come back, because I know that there's a number of other topics that we can go through, but our time is short. But will you leave the audience with one last impression of what we've been talking about today?
So I think you started the conversation with stress
Yes.
and ended on that note, because thanks so much for telling viewers about this website. This backslash EOC, expansion of consciousness, is actually a page where I have demystified something called the stress matrix, and how you come into that alignment, which I have been urging us to be in, and how you can do it right there in the comfort of your home on your sofa. But no meditation, no, none of all that jazz, just understanding where you are. And so go through the stress matrix and enjoy the journey, because eliminating stress is something that you would do a big favor not only to yourself but to everybody around you. You are a better person to be around when you're stress free. You are less prone to falling ill, because it's all that muddy waters that makes us ill. And did you know that uh, 80 to 90% of the reasons why you visit doctors are directly or indirectly related to stress? So you
Mm,
just save up on doctor bills, perhaps. Nothing else.
mm.
A lot of those diseases come directly from them. So take
Wow.
care of that and be good. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna move you to the back office. Don't go anywhere, Sandeep. Don't go anywhere. I'm gonna move you to the back office and I'm gonna close this show out. Okay. Oh, where do we begin? Another great speaker to come and share information with us. Sandeep is a coach, and you guys need to go to his page, and it's sandeepnath.com/EOC. sandeepnath.com/EOC. Um, Again, he's traveled to more than 46 cities, speaking about sacred wisdom spread over 4 continents. Sandeep is a Reiki master. He's a Qigong guide. He's a mindful coach. And this guy's an author as well. So make sure you check him out for any concerns or any issues you may have. Another excellent source from someone who has made it a point to come on and share knowledge and information. Things like, what are the keys to success? What can you do when you feel low? Understanding how these modalities, these energy modalities work. I think these are very important things. But I want to end the show by saying thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting. We need for you to click like, and we need for you to subscribe. But but the only words I have is thank you. And I am so happy to bring you this type of content. And one thing that I like to say and end this show with is relax, trust, and discover. Thank you very, very much. And we're going to go ahead and end the show out, and have a good night. Goodbye.